So DAW or DAW. Well, in music production you hear this acronym all the time. But what is a DAW? What is it for? Should you use a DAW and how do you use it? Well, in this video I'm gonna go over exactly these very basic questions about DAWs. Let's get started. Hey everyone, my name is Percy Jules. Welcome to Supercy and welcome to this brand new series called Studio 101. Well, this series is about, well, it's right there in the title, isn't it? It's about the very basics of music production, music recording. So especially if you're new to music production or you're looking to get into music production, then you might want to consider subscribing because I've got a lot of useful information for you. So this very first episode of this brand new series is about DAWs. So what is a DAW? Well, DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation, and it's usually referred to a computer program that you use to record music, to edit, to mix, to master. So basically anything from recording to the end product. That is what you use a DAW for. Now this is a very old little 4-track home studio. Well, it's not that little, by the way. Very funny because I really haven't seen this in a very long time. Anyway, to record with this we needed some tapes, actually some cassette tapes. You know, anyone who's old enough will immediately recognize this, right? Anyway, to record, very simple. You would have to arm one or more of the tracks, press record and start playing. That's all there is to it, all right? Now, the significance of this, well, let me first put it down real quickly because it's getting a little bit heavy. The importance of this is that now you are able to record all instruments to separate independent tracks. That was the word I was looking for. Well, on this thing that would be quite a challenge because you only have 4 tracks, but if you can imagine, the more professional recording studios had, I don't know, 24, 36. I think that the bigger studios had maybe 72 tracks, something like that. So that would allow you to record every instrument to their own independent track. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, and this may not be the most important reason in this context, but it just came to me, is that it would allow you to record an entire song on your own. I mean, it's impossible to play drums, play bass guitar, play guitar, another guitar, keyboards, vocals, backing vocals, all on your own at the same time. That's impossible. You would need a band for that. Or you could use this method. So on the first track, you would record drums, rewind, record bass guitar on the second track, rewind, record guitar on the third track, and so on and so on. So that way you are able to record an entire song on your own. Okay? Now another reason, which may be a bit more important in this context, is that let's say that everything is recorded and now you feel that the bass guitar is a little bit too loud. Okay, well, what you can do is just bring down the volume on only that track where the bass guitar got recorded to. And that will bring down the volume of the bass guitar in relation to the rest of the song. Okay? Or let's say that there is too much low end on the guitar. Okay, now you could put an EQ on only that track and bring down some of the lower frequencies on that track. Okay, so that's why it's very extremely important to record to individual independent tracks. Okay, now let's enter the digital age. This computer program is an example of a DAW. This just happens to be Studio One, but there are many others out there. There is Pro Tools, there's Reaper, there's Ableton Live, Digital Performer, Cubase, Cakewalk. The list is very long, okay? They may look all a bit different on the surface. They also have different feature sets. But when it comes down to the real basics, the basic idea behind them, they're basically all doing exactly the same. Okay? So anything I show you here will most likely also apply to whichever DAW you're using. So a DAW is basically a digital alternative to all the recording equipment and mixing equipment you would find in a conventional analog studio. Okay? And because it's digital, it will also come with a few benefits. First of all, obviously the price. If you look at all the equipment you would find in a conventional analog studio, it would probably cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, euros, or pounds. Okay, a DAW you can get for hundreds, sometimes even less. Okay, so that's quite a difference. Also, I talked about the maximum amount of tracks being around 72 in conventional studios. Not sure, but I believe it's something like that. A DAW like this potentially has an unlimited amount of tracks, you know, just to indicate the difference. And also, again, because it's digital, we now have access to hundreds, probably thousands of plug-in effects and plug-in instruments. Some of them you can get for free, you know, so those are some huge benefits to the digital world as it comes to music production. Now, some may argue that there are also some downsides, and that mainly focuses on the sound. And yes, when you record digitally, sometimes it will also sound digital. It will sometimes lack a little bit of liveliness. Okay? But, you know, this isn't about digital versus analog. This is about DAWs. Okay, now let's very briefly go over some of the functions of the interface of a DAW. Probably very obvious, but hey, let's do it anyway. First of all, up here you see some numbers. Well, obviously this is a basic timeline. Let me press play and something will happen. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what you're seeing is a vertical line moving across the timeline from left to right. So this vertical line, usually referred to as the playhead, actually indicates where you are on the timeline. Anyone who is familiar with video editing, for instance, will immediately recognize this. But I believe that for anyone, this is pretty obvious. All right, now let's go over some of the functions on the transport bar. So the song now is playing, even though there's nothing in the song. With this button, I can stop playing, I can rewind, I can fast forward, I can skip through the markers with these buttons if there are any. I can go to the start with this one, I can start playing again with this one, and if I press this button, then the recording will start. Okay, so the left area right here, this is the track area. Well, I'm not sure if it's officially called that, but anyway, this is where your tracks go. So let me create a track so you can see what I mean. So let's create an audio track. Now we can record anything to this track. Let's say that we want to record drums. Okay, that's done. Now we want to record bass guitar on the next track, then a guitar, then keyboards, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so this is a little example song. Well, it's more of a little loop, it's not an entire song, but anyway, it'll do for demonstration purposes. So let's press play and see what happens. Let's go. Okay, again, at the risk of sounding a little bit too obvious, but what we see happening, and especially what we hear happening, is that whatever the playhead comes across will generate a corresponding sound at that exact moment based on what we've recorded and some of the parameters we've set. You know, so a DAW is very visual, you can almost see what is happening. Okay, now let's say that all the recording is done, we've recorded everything we wanted to, but now we want to make some edits. And this is one of those areas where DAWs can be very powerful. All right? So for example, we can duplicate anything we want. So for an example, let's just select everything and let's make a duplicate. Bam! Or boom. I'm not sure what's cooler these days. I'm going with bam. Bam! Okay, now this part right here, I don't want it to start here, I want it to start a little bit later. Okay, we can just drag it over. Bam! And this part, I don't want to hear it. I mean, I don't want to delete it, but I don't want to hear it whenever the playhead comes around. Okay, I can just mute it then. So whenever the playhead comes around, you won't hear it, but it will still be there. All right? So I could go on and on. I mean, these are just some little examples of how much easier it is to edit your song than it used to be. Now and then you might want to mix your song, and for that we need to bring in the mixer. Well, any DAW comes with a built-in mixer, so let's bring in the mixer. And here we can make some adjustments to things like volume. You can bring it up or down, panning, left or right. We can bring in some effects on each track. So for instance, let's bring in an EQ on this one. We can make some adjustments to the EQ or bring in any other effect we want. And yeah, that is basically how you mix any song. So I could go on and on and on about DAWs, but I think I've covered the absolute basics here, so I'm gonna leave it at this. If you have any questions, then don't hesitate to leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, then again, you might consider subscribing, and if you do, then don't forget to click that notification bell so you know exactly when a new video is up. Okay, so that is it for now. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you very, very, very soon.